Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Under Review with Jared John. Each episode will analyze the impact the sports world has on society, such as gender equality, race, economy, history, and much more. So step up to the plate and come listen in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Under Review with Jared John. Thank you so much for joining me. First and foremost, I hope all you are doing well during this pandemic. And I'm really excited about this episode. But before we get into it, you know what we always do. I always like to show a good video. And today, this one's a special one. This one is Jamison Crowder from the Utah Jazz, takes a three, gets fouled, and then what do you see? The little kid who's so excited, pumping him up. And that is just the smile on his face. You could see for a split second, but it's perfect. I want to say a quick shout out to my mom and to my dad. My mom, she got me this jersey, which is a Larry Bird jersey from the Dream Team, in terms of graduation present for me graduating, getting my bachelor's degree from Montclair State University. And also my sneakers. These are new. My mom got them for me, so I'm very appreciative of it. So I just want to say a quick shout out to her and say thank you. But now back onto the podcast. Let's go. Today's guest is very special. She is an alumni from Wagner College, in which she played lacrosse all 4 years, and she dabbled a little bit in fencing when she had to go for her master's. Other than her freshman year for lacrosse, she played in every game and was a force to be reckoned with on the defensive end. While playing lacrosse, she earned second team All-NEC her sophomore and junior year. She also received first team NEC her senior year, and lastly and most importantly, she is a NEC champion. It is my honor to introduce Amanda Rey. Welcome, Amanda. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thank you. It's an honor to be on the show. I've been watching it, and it's been really good, so I'm excited to be on.
I'm very glad that you're here, but before we texted and I was like, I don't know what to call you. Do I call you Amanda? Like, I don't know, because I always call you Jules. And that nickname came from, we're always playing football together, and you're kind of like my Julian Edelman because I'm always your quarterback. So that's why I call you Jules. But you also like A-Ray. So I have to
I
ask, where
do.
did that nickname come from?
So it's actually not that big of a story. My parents just kind of took the A from Amanda and Ray, kind of stuck it together. And it's just something with my family. My mom's called D Ray. Both my dad and brother are John, so they're J Ray. And I got A Ray, but I think it kind of stuck with me more than it did with the rest of them.
That's awesome. So we'll get right into it. And the first question I have for you, as you can see from your awesome background, I really appreciate that. That looks awesome. How did you get into the sport of lacrosse? You played a lot of sports growing up, but what was it about lacrosse that made you decide this is the one I want to pursue, especially for your college career?
Yeah, of course. So like you said, I grew up playing a lot of sports, and I started at the age that you could start, and that was soccer and basketball. And, I played a lot of teams. With soccer, I played on like 3 or 4 different teams, basketball with all these trainers. And it just got to the point where soccer wasn't fun anymore for me, and basketball, some politics got in the way. And I was grateful to have my math teacher my freshman year of high school was also the head varsity coach, and my brother, who's 3 years older than me, had her first and kind of talked me up a little bit. So just kind of, I walked in the classroom and she's like, you're coming out and trying out for lacrosse. Like, I'm not taking no as an answer. And she took me under her wing and taught me the game. And it wasn't really until the summer after my sophomore year that I really trained so hard. And it actually got me a starting spot my junior year, and it just has been great ever since.
Now, while doing the sport through college, there's a very tough question in terms of sports athlete or athlete sports. With the problems that causes, especially in a Division One, and you went to a Division One school. So I must ask, how is it handling practice and game day and practicing all the stuff for lacrosse, but at the same time handling your academics?
Yeah, absolutely. That definitely is a question that comes up. Even when I was in college, we had recruits come in. That was a question they asked. But it's all about, time management and being organized, knowing, what time your classes are every day, to knowing what time practices were. You kind of scheduled it around that, and teachers were awesome and very understanding, where if you had to leave 10 minutes early to go get practice, they allow it. And, if you're falling behind grade wise, you go to their office hours and they'll help catch you up. They'll help tutor you. So it's really all about staying organized, communicating up front, and that kind of keeps you ahead of the game. I also do think it depends on what you want to do in college, what you want to major in, because some majors are definitely more work oriented than others. So for me, I didn't have a problem, thankfully, but I know some of our nurses who wanted to do the clinicals and stuff, they had a little bit of issues. But again, if you communicate it, it really works out great.
Now, I have to say you're very tough. When we play football, one of our buddies, the first time he went up against him, we're playing two-hand touch, and he caught the ball and he got tagged by you in a way. You put your two hands on him, and he was limping afterwards. And that was Logan Marquez, and he was like, "I think she broke my back." So you're very tough, and I can't imagine how you were in the sport of lacrosse. Have you ever gone through injuries that it was just too tough and they have still stuck with you, or are you pretty good for now?
Thankfully, I really haven't had many injuries. I may have had like a ankle roll that kept me out for a week, but I just try to do everything to keep my body good, whether that was eating right, or if I felt like a little tweak in one of my muscles, I was going to the trainer, taking ice baths, because I truly believed in those. I may have a hard time getting in them now, but during college, they were definitely a lifesaver. So I'm blessed, so to say, with injuries. So knock on wood that it stays like that. Even though I may not be playing sports now, I can stay healthy.
Now, lacrosse is a very tough sport that many people may not know about, and it deals with a lot of physicality. And when you had a lot of recruits come to Wagner, would you caution them as to say, it's very physical, it may have an everlasting impact? I know it doesn't for you, but may have a lasting impact on other people. Would you caution anybody, kind of taking a second step before going into fully for a sport?
I would probably say no. I've gotten so much out of sports, whether it was friendships or the character that I have. Just knowing how to face adversity. So sports really has done a lot for me. So I would actually tell people, especially going to college, like if you play a sport, go play it in college. At least try it. And if it's not for you, then at least you could say you tried. Because to me, I rather say I tried and it wasn't for me than look back and regret it. And even with injuries in sports, that's something that helps you face adversity. I've had a couple of friends tear ACLs, that's a season-ending injury, and they have to go through 6, 8 months, maybe even a year of rehab. But it's truly how you react to that injury, how hard you work, because a lot of people say it's a minor setback for like a major comeback.
Now, you just touched upon it. I want to get more into it. The lessons that sport has taught you, especially lacrosse. Has there Are there any life lessons that you still hold, dearly to you that maybe your coach told you, or just life lessons that you'll always take with you? You talked about the adversity that you have to go through, and many people kind of don't seem how important sports is to someone's life. Can you just talk about more of those lessons and life experiences that you've learned?
Yeah, of course. So like the biggest thing for me when it comes to sports and the lessons that I learn is like you just have to forget about things right away. In sports, you make mistakes. No one's perfect. So you could be the best player there is and you're still going to make a mistake. But again, it's how you react to it. So if you hold on to it, you can tell there's something wrong, where if you forget about it and you're like, oh, that next play, like that's my play, or I'm going to score the next goal. It's the same thing in life, whether you get a bad grade in school, the teacher's mean to you, you go out in the real world and there's some confrontation there. It's just deal with it then, and let it go. You have to move on with it, because time's precious. You don't really want to waste it at all. So that would be my biggest lesson that, I hang on every single day too.
You play a sport that's kind of male dominant in terms of what people follow. Have you ever had a stereotype either thrown at you or, you hear it but you don't really say anything? Have you ever heard anything or ever dealt with anything like that?
Yeah, of course. There's always stereotypes when it comes to sports, even females in general. So the first one that came to mind was, training for the sport, especially at the collegiate level. You have to be strong, you have to be fast, and so you go to the gym, you're lifting weights, and you'll go to the gym whether it's the dumbbells or it's squat racks. It's pretty much male dominant, and it's like you can go and you're the only female, and sometimes it's like, are you done yet? Like, can you get off? Like, it's just all these things, and they make you feel like you don't belong. But for me, I just shut it out because I wanted to be the best version of myself on that field. Like, I wanted to improve every single day. So that was definitely one of them. Another one could be, like you said, the physicality of the sport. Men's and women's lacrosse is very, very different. Where in guys you can actually full out body check someone, where girls you can really only check the stick, and even then there's rules behind it. So you'll sometimes get like, oh, you wouldn't be able to hang in a men's game, where with me I'm going to be like, well, give me your equipment, I'll prove you wrong, type of thing. So it's always like the women have to prove their worth first. Once you prove your worth, then you get that self-respect. And then I would say the last one can kind of be the aggression. I know for me, I'm very aggressive, whether I'm talking, whether I'm playing. So the one thing that came to mind too is, like, I was a team captain my senior year. So when things weren't right, I wasn't afraid to bring my girls in. But sometimes when I was talking to them, I could say a few curse words here and there. And sometimes that may not come across ladylike.
Yeah. But did you ever worry about, in this time, in this moment, I need to be ladylike, or were you just, you know, push that to the side? It's game day. Like, let's just go.
Yeah, no, it definitely was push it to the side, because if you become ladylike or, too girly, like that just doesn't go with sports. It's like when you're in the moment with sports, be like the most physical, aggressive, you know, you. And then when sports are done, you're hanging with your girls off the field. That's when, okay, calm it down a little bit.
Now, do you feel like that stigma of, you know, male are more aggressive, like you said, oh, you always hear you can never play in a male's league. Do you feel like that will ever go away, or do you feel like women still have to keep proving themselves, even though they don't need to?
Right. I would say right now it would probably be that the women still need to prove themselves, just because I feel like with the different movies out there talking about injuries, talking about concussions, that they do try to keep the women, I feel like, a little bit more hidden. They don't want us to get hurt, when in reality, like, I would say half of us, if not 75% of us, would actually like that physicality. That is something that we do like about the men's game that, I wish I could be involved in. But I definitely think, women are still going to prove themselves, and I think it's going to be quite a bit of time that we have to do that. It would be amazing to see it end, though, and combine the sports.
Lacrosse, unfortunately, isn't as big as football, baseball, or basketball or anything. Not even as big as the WWE. It only has a couple of professional leagues,
Mm-hmm.
and within those professional leagues, there's not many teams. Do you ever see the sport growing? And if so, do you feel like there's a reason as to why this sport has not grown yet?
Right. I definitely do think the women's aspect is growing. The men's professional league have been around since about 2000, 2001. So they're definitely more popular. You can buy tickets and go to their games. I know with Philly, they have Philadelphia Wings that they used to actually play out of the Wachovia Center where the Flyers played. With the women, we are still growing. I think their professional league is about 3 to 4 years old now. And as lacrosse women's side keeps growing, we definitely will get bigger. We do have a USA team that they go to World Cups and compete, and most of the time they're coming out with that gold medal. I know there's talks about trying to get them into the Olympics. You know, the rules may be different, but they're pushing for it. So it's definitely some years before it gets super big, but I think it will happen just because we have so many great role models that are in the professional league that, you know, their job is lacrosse. They're holding camps, they're recruiting and stuff like that. So in time, it definitely will grow and get bigger.
So we got to talk about the good stuff, the best stuff, which is you're a champion. How's that?
Yes,
What was
I
that
am.
moment like? Do you have the ring with you?
I do have the ring on me. Just in case I was asked, I had to present it. So it is just like
Oh,
a small little ring, you know, has our Seahawk logo. This side just has the W for Wagner. And then I actually do have Rey and my number with the lacrosse sticks on this side. I do treasure this ring a lot, cherish, I should say. So I don't wear it too often because I don't want to lose it, but I love it. It's definitely a good memory. But winning the championship was a surreal moment for sure, especially for me and my freshman class. We were a small group. There was only 4 of us, but we actually been to the championship game all 4 years. So to say we only won it once may not be the greatest, but to say we actually came out and won one, it was the best moment of my life. Like I could relive it and tell you it all exactly. That's just how fond of that moment I was and how great of a memory it truly was. And just kind of hosting the trophy, like holding it up above with the whole team. You know, I got to do it individually and got a picture. And then just the whole bus ride home, we were loud, like to listening to music. And as soon as we got back to campus, just all together truly celebrating it. It's something that I look back on a lot. Clearly from my wall, I cherish my time at Wagner, and it's made me who I am today for sure.
I was looking earlier, Wagner Lacrosse, especially in the women's, keeps, trending upward. What do you have to say about, the college that, you loved and you played all 4 years and you played incredible all 4 years. And after, your freshman year, you practically started every game, you played every 19 games. So what is it like seeing, your school succeed after you leave?
No, it's an amazing feeling. I'm such a lacrosse rat. They call it a lax rat is the term that I still watch the games. They broadcast them on our conference. It's called NEC Row. So sometimes I'll be at work and I have the game up on my second screen watching it. I'm cheering them on. You know, if there's a home game on the weekend, I'm going. Poor Aiden, I have to drag him with me, but I'm going to support them and watch them. And it's just amazing to see what our coaches can do. We had a coach named Katie Rowan, who was a decorative player out of Syracuse. She was with Wagner for about 3 to 4 years and left her mark. And now we have Michelle Tumalo, who is another Syracuse player, most decorative player as well. Her name is pretty much the face of lacrosse, and she's just living a life. The girls respect her. They love playing for her. And that means everything. If you love your coach and want to win for your coach, you're going to be successful. So they have a long, successful years ahead of them, and I can't wait to keep watching.
That's awesome. Now, do you feel, and this is a personal, you don't have to be political about it. You could just say, do you feel that for Wagner, women's lacrosse is the best?
At Wagner,
Yes.
100%. I would say we do have competition. Our women's swim team is very good. Our women's water polo is very good. They've won championships as well. I mean, I gotta say I'm probably a little biased, but
But that's
but we
okay.
yeah, but we are a team to reckon with, and you know, it's just that team. They're a family. They're together on the field, off the field, whatever they're doing, they're together.
Now, what was it like? First of all, I have to ask, and this might be a weird question, but what is the go-to meal for game day?
So that's a very odd question for me. I have a very like sensitive stomach, so I would actually not eat, or like it would
Oh,
be just like a protein bar.
okay.
So there'd be times where like we would be in the huddle and we're jumping, getting loud. I'm like, "Ooh, calm down, take a second," because I got the stars going and stuff. But I would say most people for breakfast, it's like the eggs and potatoes. Everyone loves our dining hall. Not really sure why, because it's not the best, but we learned to love it. So probably I would say that, but it's probably different per person too. They all had their different variety of meals.
Are there any superstitions that you did? I know being with the Montclair men's basketball team, I kind of came a couple games after because they were played in Oregon and I couldn't really make it there. So for one of the games, it was away. It was the first game I ever went to. And I asked the coach, I was like, where do I sit? I don't want to sit next to the coach. That's kind of weird. I'm not really close with him yet. And he goes, oh, well, we all have assigned seats kind of, and we all have to sit in the same place. So are there any superstitions like that or just anything in general?
So when it comes to the bench, I wouldn't say so, but like I have my own pregame routine that was very superstitious. I kind of had the motto of look good, feel good, play good. So this is going to sound a little weird, but I would shower every morning before the games. I would shave my legs every morning before the games, and then I would actually like blow dry my hair out and everything so that when it was back in the ponytail that it looked nice too. So that was
I
kind
mean,
of that.
you also had the eye black,
I
which is
did. That was a
very
big
like
thing
tough
too.
looking.
Yep, I would always kind of wanted to go in with that intimidation factor. So that eye black was me for sure every game. In high school, some people were like, maybe not every game, like some games, like the more competitive games go for it. But in college, like I went to town with it every single game. And that was me. I got some teammates on board and they did it for some games, but it could be a team that we may beat 20-0, and I was still putting it on just because that was my routine and I had to go for it. But the other two things I had was, at least my senior year, I did it more, was we would do like a team stretch, but then I'd actually go off to the side and have my trainer stretch me out. And then my senior year too, with the defensive coach, we had a handshake that we would do right after, like they called out the announcements. I would do my handshake and I would go take the field.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, did you also listen to music?
Oh, very much so. I
What
got
was
made fun of that for sure.
what was the go-to playlist?
So it's actually very long. I kind of created it myself, but it was just that type of music that, I wanted to like shake my head to, just kind of had some motivational words to it. Just kind of, it was like a way to hype myself up, to be like, to make myself confident and be like, yeah, I'm the best one out there on the field. I may not have been, but in my head, I'm going to go out on the field thinking that.
You had that mentality. I respect that. Now, you're a big Philadelphia Eagles, 76ers, Flyers. But let's focus on the Eagles real quick. I have to ask, was Dreams and Nightmares on that playlist that you played?
It was. It was.
Ah, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. Now, was it at the top? I gotta know. Was it at the top, at
So
the
I
bottom?
actually didn't have an order. I actually just always put it on shuffle. I just kind of always like to be surprised. Um, and yeah, every song, like I didn't mind starting with it or ending with it. Like that's how great in my mind I thought the playlist was. Everyone has a different playlist, but I needed that hardcore, motivational, confident type music.
This is all good need to know. People need to know this. So I'm very glad that you share that with us. Lastly, you sometimes coach lacrosse during the summer. What keeps you going with the sport? You could tell that you really love and appreciate it. And I feel like many athletes, either college, high school, or even professionals, have that same admiration and love that you clearly share with your love of lacrosse. So, what keeps you going about the sport?
Yeah, definitely. My passion for sports in general is just through the roof, whether it's watching TV or getting out there playing a game. But lacrosse has just done so much for me in my life. I accomplished my first career dream of going to a Division I school, and I got to tell you, I thought it was going to be basketball, but it all changed, to lacrosse, and it was great. But it was just like what the coaches did for me. My high school coaches were amazing. Even the girls that I learned from in high school were awesome. I actually keep in touch still with the head varsity coach at Washington Township High School on an everyday basis almost. And so it's just really the want to give back, to see what they did for me. I want to do for others. I want to be able to teach others the game, what I did, what worked for me, what didn't. And it's just a part of me. I actually, the summers that I can't really make coaching because of my job, I feel like something is missing.
Well, Amanda, Jules, you always be Jules in my eyes. I don't care if you're whatever sport you're playing, you always be Jules. But also, A Ray, I appreciate the time and I really do appreciate the stories that you told. And it's very tough, I feel like now and ever, to be a woman athlete. But you definitely show us when we're playing football, big, small, women, male, that you bring your A game. So I really do appreciate you and I really do appreciate this.
Always. I'm so honored to be on the show. So thanks again for having me. When I got that text message, my smile went ear to ear. So thank
Uh,
you again.
thank you so much. Stay safe and we'll talk soon.
All right, you too.
Thank you, Amanda, so much. Everything you said, I will cherish forever. I love this interview. I really do appreciate it. And like I always say, in my eyes, you'll always be seen as Jules. You're my Julian Edelman whenever we play football outside. And I really appreciate that. And once again, thank you for this interview. And that'll be it. Another episode down. Like I'm always saying, I don't know who I will have next, but I really do appreciate everyone listening and everyone that's tuning in. I love it. I love everybody liking the Instagram. I love the views going up on YouTube. I just don't take anything for granted. If 2020 has taught us anything, is to just shoot for the stars and just enjoy life every single day. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you once again for always listening. I appreciate it. Stay safe, and I'll see you later.